The best grounded and realistic lit RPG, and where to start. A reader's on-ramp for the integration era. Grounded lit RPG asks a harder thing of its numbers. The level has to cost something you felt on the page. The world has to keep running after the fight ends, with weather and rent and people who have jobs. And the character holding the stat sheet needs a life it doesn't fully explain. If you searched grounded lit RPG or realistic lit RPG, this is an honest answer. 3 of the best, what each one actually does well, and then, clearly labeled, a pitch for mine. Credibility first. You can stop at the pitch, if that's all you came for. First, a world that keeps living. The Wandering Inn. Pirate Abbas serial is one of the largest works of fiction on the internet, and it earned that size the slow way. There are classes, skills, and levels all through it. So the lit RPG machinery is real and on the page. People stay for the inn. Erin Solstice is a young woman from our world who ends up running a roadside inn in a fantasy one, and the books spend their enormous length on what that actually takes. Brewing, cleaning, burying people she couldn't save, keeping a door open for strangers. The world levels her for the work, then goes right on living around her, indifferent and specific, full of other people with their own days. That texture is the realism. The system keeps score, and meanwhile someone still has to sweep the floor. If that lived-in feeling is your hook, the integration era shares it in a much smaller container. Mine is far shorter and a good deal colder, with no cozy warmth to sink into. What it keeps is the belief that the world outside the stat screen is the actual story, and that ordinary work is where the measuring lands hardest. Next, the system fused to a real inner life. Super supportive. Slaycaw's Super Supportive is one of the best character studies the genre has produced, and it's free to start on Royal Road right now, where it's been building a devoted following chapter by chapter. It's a superhero and system story on paper. In practice, it's a patient, deeply felt book about a teenager named Alden and the ordinary shape of his life. His friendships, his part-time work, the small dignities and embarrassments of being 16 and not sure of your footing. The system arrives into that life and never once flattens it. Powers and rankings all matter, and they always sit second to the person carrying them. You believe the interior life first, so you believe everything the system does to it. The realism here is emotional and social, earned line by line. If that's what you came for, the integration era works the same nerve from a colder, adult science fiction angle. And it puts the numbers physically onto the body where Super Supportive keeps its system light. Supportant body is the important part. A system bolted onto a real inner life, and the person carrying it always comes first. Then, rules that actually hold. Mother of Learning. Mother of Learning by Nobody 103 is finished, which means you can read the whole thing today and never wait on a chapter. Zorian is a magic student caught in a time loop, reliving the same month. And he works the world's magic the way you'd work a hard problem that genuinely has an answer. Nothing important is handed to him. Every gain comes from figuring out the mechanism and paying for it in effort and failure and repetition. Strictly speaking, it sits closer to rational and progression fantasy than to stat screen lit RPG, with a soft magic system rather than visible readouts. If that line is fuzzy for you, there's a whole post on it on the site. It belongs on a grounded list anyway, because grounded is really about rules that hold their shape. The magic obeys itself. The cost is always paid. If that rigor is the itch, the integration era scratches it with the numbers made explicit and printed on the page. The system's rules hold with the same discipline, and it will show you the exact price of every advance rather than leave it implied. So, here's the pitch. Here's where I switch hats. Everything above I'd hand a stranger with no agenda. This next one comes with one. The Integration Era is a science fiction series about a world remade by an alien system nobody asked for. It arrives, switches on without warning, and begins measuring every person in known space. 6 stats and a designation, a verdict on who you are that it then sets about making true. Score high in frame and the system hardens your bones until the number is honest. The stat is a claim it makes about you, and then enforces, Where it lives on the grounded shelf is scale. It turns that measuring on a life the size of yours. It skips the dungeon entirely. The stage is a woman 11 years into a job she's quietly good at, a man who restores degraded audio in a back room, a mother watching her toddler get his first baseline. The system rates all of it precisely and permanently, and the whole weight of that lands on an ordinary afternoon. If you want the grounded feeling to come from the measuring itself, from what a lifetime of being scored does to a regular person, that's the corner of the shelf I'm writing for. The fastest way in is a short story called Carried Forward. Petra has worked at the same firm for 11 years. She has 21 unspent stat points, an integration level that has climbed 7 times without her looking, and a habit of taking the stairs in a building with an elevator. Then a good day puts the readout she's been ignoring right in front of her. Want a grounded one free? Start with Carried Forward. It reads in one sitting, and it's the quickest way to tell whether the integration era is for you. Free membership at integrationera.com puts every new post and story in your inbox the day it goes public. No designation required. The Integration Era is a science fiction series about a world remade by an alien system nobody asked for. You've been listening to The Integration Era by Charlie Forrett. All content is copyright 2026 by Charlie Forrett. All rights reserved. Voices produced by Speechify. New stories, world-building deep dives, character dossiers, and more are available now at integrationera.com. Subscribe to get notified when the next post drops. The system is watching. You might as well keep up.